Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College, working as an assistant professor in Information Technology Department. So today our topic is on data analytics life cycle, which is also a very important topic in data analytics, which is a subject in IT in CSIT. So today are discussing on the data analytics life cycle. So in the previous lecture, we already clear about what is data analytics, what are the phases, what are the importance of data analytics. So now come to this lecture, we are explaining data analytics life cycle. What are data which are gone through from the various phases so that we get a meaningful information from the vast amount of data. So the data analytics life cycle is designed for big data problem and data science project. Basically, a data analytic life cycle is designed for big data problem in which we have a huge amount of data. Not we can say a smaller data, we have a vast amount of data which we measure in some terabyte, petabytes. Okay, the cycle is iterative, involving repetition to represent a real project. The cycle of the data analytics which have the various phases to represent the real project. So this include a step-by-step methodology is needed to organize the activity and task involved, which acquire processing, analyzing, repurposes for the data. As we know that we also know that in the software we have various phases of SDLC life cycle, or in the software development life cycle. For a software, a product is gone through the various phases. Like first is we have to do requirement analysis, then we design a product, then we testing, maintenance, and so on. So in the data analytics life cycle, we also have a various phases in which our data have to be processed so that we get a meaningful output. So in the data analytics life cycle, we have our following phases. First one is our discovery phase. The first one is a discovery phase in which we have to discover our data through various sources of the data, which we already discussed in our previous lecture. Sources of data we get the data through social media, through interview, through observation. So whichever the sources of data we get the data in the discovery phase. Data preparation. The next stage of data analytics life cycle is data preparation. In this phase, we have to prepare our data according to our need. Then we plan for the model. Then we have a data. Then in the next stage, we have planned for the planning. Then after that, model building. Then after model building, communication result, and then operationalize. These are the 6 phases of data analytics life cycle. So as a diagram, we give the following representation of the phases. First one, discovery, after that preparation, then model building, then model planning, then model building, then communication result, and operationalize. This is a iterative in figure. So the data analytics life cycle phases are drawn by this diagram. So in the next, we had to discuss what are the various stages, and each stage has what are the functionality which we have to do in our data to get our information. So in the discovery phase, the data science team learn and investigate the problem. First, we have to collect our data from the various heterogeneous sources, divide the data into a structured and unstructured format or semi-structured format. Then the data science team learn and investigate the problem. So in the data discovery phase, the data science team, which there are various business developer, data scientist, engineers, learn and investigate the problem. Then develop context and understanding. Then according to the problem, they develop context and understanding the behavior of the data. Okay, next, come to know about the data sources needed available for the project. Then according to that, learn and investigating the problem. First we have to collect the data, then we have to learn and investigate the problem, then according to that problem we have to develop the concept, what we have to do, or what are the other sources or what are the other data needed to get the available project, for that available project. So come to know about the data sources needed. Then we have to search about the where the data sources, where we get the data available on available for the project, for which project we have for available. The team formulate initial hypothesis that can be later tested with data. Then the data science team formulate the initial hypothesis for the data, or when we get the learn and investigate the problem, then the data science team formulate the initial hypothesis, in which they develop a concept and understanding about the data and get the initial hypothesis what we can do in future for this project. So in the discovery phase, we have to discover the actual problems, we have to discover the actual data or actual output of the initial hypothesis. We are considering into a hypothesis, we are hypothesizing or we are imagine what we have to do in the future, what we get, what we do in the very next stages of data analytics life cycle is data preparation. In the data preparation stage of, this is a second phase, or we can say a second stage of data analytics life cycle, data preparation. Step in this data preparation, step to explore, pre-process and condition prior data to modeling and analysis. Okay, this is a process in which we have to prepare our data for planning. In the next phase, we have to plan according to the data we have to prepare. So in this phase, we are preparing our data according to some condition, pre-processing, which we gone to the data for planning or modeling. It requires a presence of analytics sandbox. For data preparation, there is a requirement for the analytics sandbox which we have to generate. So the data scientist team execute, load and transform to get the data into sandbox. From various sources we have our data. So the data science team execute, load and transform the data into the sandbox. Data preparation tasks are likely to be performed multiple times and not in predefined order. Because of this is a second phase of our data analytics life cycle, there are many changes when the customer requirement are changed, their developer requirement are changed, what we have to develop, and then another requirement came. So in the data preparation phase, there are further changes in the preparation of data. So data preparation task is likely to be assigned for a multiple time. So data preparation is to be done for a multiple time, not in predefined order. It may be in a sequence manner, or maybe after modeling phase we have to prepare our data according to the requirement of the customer or requirement of the client. So we have to gone forward backward to the data preparation phase for generating a new data or the data according to the client need. Several tools commonly used in this phase are Hadoop, Alpine Miner and OpenRefine, etc. Several tools which we have to use for the data preparation in this phase are Hadoop, Alpine Miner and OpenMiner, which we discussed in detail in the last unit. Phase 3, that is our model planning. This is a third stage of the data analytics life cycle. In the first phase, we have to discover our data according to the requirement of the data and so on. In the second phase, we have to prepare a model. We have to prepare a model for the data. So in the model planning phase, as a name suggests, we are planning what we have to design for the data. Model planning phase. Team explore data to learn about relationship between the variables and subsequently select key variable and the most suitable model. In this model planning, team explore the data about relationship. There are so many variable in a projects. First we have to develop a software or a data. According to the data, we have a many variable like dependent variable and independent variable. Dependent and independent variable. Dependent variable in which the variable are depend on in each other. Okay, when a one value is increased, then other value will be increased. And independent variable, which are the variables that are independent of another or a secondary variable. Okay, when a one value is increased, there is no performance changes in the another variable. So first we have to design our data, and there are so many variable according to that variable, and subsequently select a key variable. Then we have to select a key variable in which we have to do according to that situation other variables are affected, are the most suitable model. Then after, in this phase, the data science team develop data set for the training data and testing in production purposes. Then the data scientist team develop a data set according to the data and gone for the training and testing purposes for the production purposes. Then the team build and execute model. Then after that, when our data is to be fetch, execute and performing transforming operation, then we find a dependency between the variable. Then the data science team develop for the set for training and testing purposes. Okay, then the team build a execute model. Then based on that information, the team build and execute models. Okay, based on the work done in the model planning phase. What we have to develop in the model planning phase, the team build a execution model, how that the product is performed, how the our plant is performed. Okay, several tools commonly used for this phase are MATLAB and Statistica. Several tools, there are various commonly tools which we have to use for the execution of our model. So in this we have to use our MATLAB, Statistica, any programming language which we have to use in this. Okay, then after discovery, then preparation, then planning, after the stage comes to its model building. When we have to discover, prepare or plan for a model, then the next phase is model building, how to build a model. When a preparation or a planning phase is done, we have a plan for that, then we have to build a product, or we can say a software, or we can say a data according to that need. The team develop a data set for testing, training and production purposes. The team again develop a testing, performing a training, testing and production purposes. Team also consider whether it is existing tool will suffice for running this model or if they need more robust environment. Then the team check whether the tool, or we can say whether a data set or which we have to maintain are eligible or will for suffix for running a model, or we can say it is not a good environment, or we have to change environment, or we have to, this is robust for executing the model. So in the model building phase, when we have a plan for the project, in this we have to develop a model according to various commonly used programming language using the commercial tool like MATLAB and Statistica, and then we have to perform a building phase. Open and free source tool are Ren, Octava, Veka. These are the open source tool which commonly used in the model building phase for in a data analytics life cycle. Then after a building of an data set or a product, we communicate the result. Communication result after executing model. After executing model, team need to compare outcome of modeling to criteria established for success and failure. In the communication result phase, we are not providing these data or these product to the customer. We, in the common communication result, we have a model that is going to be execute, and then in this we have to compare the outcome of modeling. criteria which we have to describe when this is a success rate and this is a failure. Okay, then we have to compare our executing model to the success or failure rate. Then team consider how to best to articulate finding and outcome of various team members and stakeholder, take into account of warning and so on. Team should identify key finding. The data science team should identify the key finding, quantify business value, and develop narrative or summarize and convey finding to the stakeholder. And in the communication result, when we have to do our several process, when we check our data or are testing our data for the success and failure, then the team should identify which stakeholder is available or we have to provide to give that a product. Operationalize. Then the last stage of the data analytics cycle is operationalize. The team communicate benefit of project more broadly. In this phase, what are the outcomes of our project, what are the benefits of our projects, or we can say advantage, pros of our project, represent these to the stakeholder and elaborate our project more broadly and set up a pilot project. According to that, we have developed a prototype of that project and to deploy work in a controlled way before broadening the work to final enterprise of user. Before handover to the user or the enterprise of a user, the data scientist team communicate the benefit to the project more broadly and set up a pilot project to describe a functionality of each of the project. So this approach enables team to learn about performance, related constraint of the model, production of small scale or big scale, and make the adjustment before deployment according to the feedback, or we can say according to the performance, what our product or our data which we have planned or built, then test according to the environment and make adjustment if there is possible, then we before the full deployment of the project. The team deliver a final project briefing and code. Then in the operationalized phase, after that the team deliver the final reports, briefing and codes, and we are using a free open source tool like Octava, Vika, XQL and Madlib for functioning our project to are fully working. So these are the various stages of data analytics life cycle. In the discovery phase, we have to discover our data. In a preparation phase, we are preparing our data for the data planning model and check what are the various sources available for the data which we have to go for a planning. And in the model building phase, we have to build a data set for according to the planning which we have done in the stage 3. And then in the communication result, we have to compare our model with the success and failure rate. And in the operationalized phase, we testing according to our condition, then give the brief overview our project in broad manner and produce our codes and outputs and show this to our customer before the full deployment of the project. Then if any changes occur, then we have to do in the operationalized phase, and then finally after the full deployment of our project. So these are the various stages of data analytics life cycle, or we can say our phases. What our data have to be faced to get a meaningful data or a stage software project to get our data in the form of data analytics life cycle. Then next is the key role of the data analytics project. What are the key roles of data analytics project? There are certain key roles that are required for the complete and fulfilled functioning of the data science team to execute project and analytics successfully. So there are many key rules to fulfill the functioning of a data science project, or to complete a functioning of data science team to execute a project or that is analytical successfully. Each key play a crucial role in developing a successful analytic project. We have a various key. We have a business analytics engineer, we have a project engineer, we have a key developer. So these are play a very crucial role, a very important role for successful analytic project. The key roles are 7 in number. These key roles are 7 in number, which we discuss one by one in our next slide. They can be used fewer or more depending upon the scope of a project. Maybe these are not specific, are 7 in number. These may be fewer, or we can say a more, depending upon the scope of the project. If the scope of the project is large, so we have 8 to 9 key roles. Or the project is small and there is a scope of the project is small, then it can be fewer. For a small or versatile team, these listed 7 roles fulfilled only 3 to 4 people. If our project is small, then our data science versatile, if we have a versatile team which we have to work in various phases, then the 7 key roles may be fulfilled by the 3 or 4 members. But in a large project, it may require 10 to 20 fulfilling for the listed role. So these are the basic key roles which we have required to complete and fulfill the functioning of the data science team to execute the project on analytics successfully. For a successful project, we have these 7 key roles which play an important role for completing a project. First one is a business user. Second one, project sponsor. First one is a business user. सेकेंड वन इज अ प्रोजेक्ट स्पॉन्सर, जो प्रोजेक्ट स्पॉन्सर कर रहा है, आपका जो प्रोडक्ट को फंड प्रोवाइड कर रहा है, दैट इज ऑल्सो अ इम्पॉर्टेंट की रोल फॉर अ प्रोजेक्ट ना. प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजर as a name suggests, who handle the overall working of a project, that is a project manager. Then business intelligent analytics, which have a work to analyze all the data carefully and describe what are the sources needed, what we have to plan for best building of our data, who process communication of result. Then next is our database administrator. Database administrator, as a name suggests, it include a data which our database administrator have to collect for the entire, because we have a huge amount of data. The data analytics life cycle, in the data analytics life cycle, we have a huge amount of data which we have gone through the various phases. So the role of the database administrator is to collect all the data and store them specifically. Then next key or a crucial role that is important for any data analytics project, a data engineer, and another one is data scientist. So one by one we discuss what are the roles of business user, sponsor, manager, and a data engineer and data scientist. What they have a function, what are their gives a functions to a data analytics phases, or what are their key roles that they have to provide for a project for a fulfill functioning of a data. Then first one is a business user. The business user is one who understand the main area of the project. What we have a project, a business user is one who understand what are the main area of project and is also basically benefited from the result. What is the project are actually want to do and what we have to get a result from that particular project. So the business user is one who understand main area of the project, what we have to do a work in that particular project, what we have to gain. So a business user is one who understand the main area of the project. The user give advice and consult the team working on the project. The business user give advice and consult the team working on the project about the value of the result obtained and how the operations on the output are done. The business user is one who are advisable to the data sciences team that include into the working of a project, what we have to do and what we have to not do. The business manager, line manager are a deep subject matter expert. Project maintains the fulfill of this role. In the business user, we have a business manager or a line manager or a particular a subject matter expert in which we have a project. So a business user is one in which they are include a manager, a line manager or a subject specialist in the project to fulfill a key role or a successful project for fulfilling a best result. Then the next key role is project sponsor. The project sponsor is one who is responsible to initiate a project. If we do not have a sponsor, how do we initiate a project? So the project sponsor is a very crucial role depending who initiate a project, who are giving a startup amount to initiate a project. That is a project sponsor. Project sponsor provide the actual requirement for the project and present the basic business role. And the project sponsor is also a one that is provide the actual requirement because they are funding the project. So they also provide a actual requirement for the project what they have to need. Okay. He generally provide the fund. He generally fund provide करते हैं as we discuss and measure the degree of value to the final output of the team working on the project. और measure करते हैं what are the degree what they have to collect after the final output of the project. The person introduce the prime concern and room of the desired output. This is a person. Project sponsor is a person introduce a prime concern. The project sponsor is the one who indicate that what is the prime concern of that project in which we have to focus what we are done. Okay, so project sponsor, basically a project sponsor is a one that provide a funds and that is responsible to initiate a project, and the project sponsor is also introduce a prime concern of the desired output. Then we have a next that is a project manager. As the name suggests, the person ensured that the key milestone, or we can say a purpose of the project, is done or are met on a time and of the expected quality. The project manager is responsible for the overall working of a project, or we can say the purpose of the project is met on time. We have a predefined time for a particular project, so a project manager is responsible to get the project on time and to provide the project on time to the various to a particular customer and of the expected quality within a time with the expected quality. Then next is our business intelligent analysis. The business intelligence analysis provide business domain perfection based on our detailed and deep understanding of the data. So a business intelligent analysis is the one who provides an business domain perfection based on the detail and deep understanding of the data. Key performance indicators, key metrics, business intelligence from a reporting point of view. The person generally create a database and report known about the data feeds and sources. The business intelligence analysis is basically generate a database and report it according to a project and knows about the data feeds and sources. Then next is our database administrator. Database administrator, DBA. In short, we also say that DBA facilitate or arrange the database environment. DBA facilitate our and arrange a database environment to support the analytics need to team working on a project. Okay, so the responsibility may include providing permission to key database or tables and making sure that appropriate security strategies are in their correct places to the data repository or not. So these are the responsibility basically of database administrator, that they provide a permissioning of key roles and provide a table so that the data are we have to get a structured format and appropriately in a accurate page. And so the second last is a data engineer. In the data engineer grabs deep and technical skill to assist with running SQL queries for a management and data extraction and provide a support of the data. The data engineer work jointly with the data scientist in help with the incorrect ways for the analysis. Then last one is a data scientist, which is also a key role for the project. The data scientist, the working or the functionality of a data scientist is to facilitate with the subject matter expertise for analytical techniques, data modeling, and applying the correct analytical technique. Basically, he ensures the overall analytical objective are met or not. Data scientists outline and apply analytical and proceed toward the data available for the concerned project. So that's it for today. Thank you.